Look, when the former CEO of Google, a man who helped build the digital world we all live in, starts sounding the alarm on AI, you really have to listen. Eric Schmidt isn't just talking about some far-off sci-fi problems. He's talking about clear and present dangers, and he's sharing the wisdom he learned the hard way on how to handle them. So let's dive in. We're going to break down his blueprint for surviving and even thriving in this new age of AI.
So, here's the game plan. First, we're going to tackle the absolutely mind-blowing power of AI and the massive risks that come with it. Then, we'll get into how the algorithms running our lives right now are actually affecting society. From there, we'll pivot to solutions, looking at a super powerful innovation strategy straight from Google. And finally, we'll zoom out and talk about the kind of human leadership we're going to need to steer this ship in the right direction.
All right, so to really get why Schmidt's warnings are so urgent, you first have to wrap your head around the unbelievable speed of all this. It's a force that is changing our world faster than we can even process. Schmidt gives this pretty stunning example to put it all in perspective. The big mainframe computer he used back in college was 100 million times slower than the smartphone that's in your pocket right now. Just think about that. That incredible leap in power happened in a single lifetime. And all that computing power, well, that's the fuel for the AI revolution. But with that kind of power comes some pretty terrifying risk.
And this is where the risk becomes, well, truly existential. Schmidt does not mince words here. AI can create deadly viruses. If we see this, we must turn off AI. He's talking about the very real possibility of AI giving anyone the power to engineer biological weapons. This isn't science fiction to him. He sees it as a genuine, immediate threat.
So that's the real question, isn't it? If we're creating something with this much destructive potential, what's our ultimate safety net? What's the emergency brake? Schmidt argues for a very clear, totally non-negotiable principle.
It's the kill switch. The idea is incredibly simple but absolutely critical. Every single advanced AI system must have a foolproof built-in way for a human to just shut it down, period. If a system starts going rogue or doing something we can't accept, we need the ability to pull the plug instantly. It's the most basic safety guarantee we have.
Okay, so we've talked about that massive existential risk. Let's shift gears now to a risk that's not in the future. It's already here. It's happening every single day, right on our phone screens. This is all about the code that's shaping how we see the world.
In Silicon Valley, they call it the objective function. Basically, every algorithm on every major social media platform has one primary goal it's trying to achieve. And for pretty much all of them, that goal is to maximize your attention. Why? Well, it's simple. The more of your attention they can capture, the more ads they can sell. It's a direct line from your eyeballs to their bank account.
And this is where it gets really interesting, because you see this chain reaction. The goal is to make money. The way to do that is to capture attention. And what, according to Schmidt, is the absolute easiest, most reliable way to hijack human attention? Outrage. The algorithms figured out that triggering anger and fear is the best way to keep us scrolling.
Schmidt just lays it out with brutal honesty. This isn't some unfortunate side effect. It's the logical conclusion of the entire business model. The system is literally designed to find the most polarizing, most emotional, most divisive content and push it right to the top, because that's what keeps us hooked.
And the price for this model is steep. We get pushed into our own little echo chambers. Our shared sense of reality starts to fall apart, and it has a really negative impact on mental health, especially for kids. And that last point from Schmidt is just chilling. What happens to a child's sense of self when their identity is being shaped by an algorithm that's optimizing for outrage?
Okay, so after all that, let's talk solutions. Because Schmidt isn't just about pointing out problems, he's a builder. And he offers this really practical, proven framework for how companies can drive real innovation in a smart, sustainable way.
This is Google's legendary 70-20-10 rule. It's such a simple but brilliant way to think about your resources. So 70% of your effort goes to your core business, the stuff that keeps the lights on. 20% goes to projects that are related, but a little bit of a stretch. And that last 10%, that's protected for the moonshots, the wild, high-risk ideas that could change everything.
The real genius here is that it creates a safe space for innovation. That 10% is shielded from the pressure of making money this quarter, which gives crazy ideas room to actually grow. This is what attracts the most brilliant and creative people, and it guarantees you're always planting the seeds for what's next. You can even apply this to your own life. Spend 10% of your time learning something completely new and unrelated to your job. And make no mistake, This is not just some feel-good theory. Schmidt estimates this simple rule generated up to $40 billion in extra profit for Google. That's billion with a B. Huge products, things we use every day like Gmail and Android, were born in that 10% moonshot space. It's proof that taking disciplined risks pays off, big time.
But to make that 10% really work, you need a totally different attitude about failure. Schmidt points to innovators like Elon Musk. The traditional mindset says failure is a disaster you have to avoid at all costs. But the elite mindset, it sees failure as just data. It's a necessary step. They get that in today's world, the cost of being too slow is way, way higher than the cost of making a mistake and learning from it fast.
So we've got a strategy for innovation, but Schmidt is clear that it's useless without the right kind of human leadership, because managing this AI revolution isn't just a tech problem, it's a people problem.
Schmidt is a huge advocate for the leadership model of his own mentor, a man named Bill Campbell, who was the legendary trillion-dollar coach in Silicon Valley. This guy coached everyone from Steve Jobs to the founders of Google, and his core belief was that a leader's job isn't to be the smartest person in the room. It's to be a coach who makes the entire team smarter.
So what does being a coach actually look like? Well, it's not about barking orders. It's about getting obstacles out of your team's way so they can do their best work. It's creating an environment where people feel safe enough to tell you you're wrong. It's about wading into messy human conflicts to help find a solution. And maybe the most important job of all is to develop the people who will eventually take your place.
This need for wise, long-term leadership is really about legacy. Schmidt actually worked with Henry Kissinger in his final years, and Kissinger was obsessed with this question. How do we make sure AI continues the good progress of society? I mean, here's a man who saw both the very best and the very worst of humanity, and he was urging us to think about the world we're building for the next 50 years, not just the next product launch.
And that, really, is the final question for all of us. It's bigger than technology. It's about our future. The tools we are designing right this second are going to define the world our kids and grandkids grow up in. So Eric Schmidt's message isn't just for CEOs in Silicon Valley. It's a call for all of us to start thinking right now, very consciously, about the kind of future we actually want to create.